Welcome to the little room here in Millthorpe in the tablelands of New South Wales. I always kind of tell people where we are. Just behind the beautiful painting of Case of John Dengate that we're singing to tonight and the cameras is a road down the hill to Sydney. Hopefully we'll see some Sydney folks tonight. But yeah, wherever you are, welcome. Tonight we are sitting here in our studio on Wiradjuri country, which we always like to think about. Most days we have a chat about the first Australians and the Wiradjuri people. It's such a fantastic part of the world. It's the home I've got, and I'm really pleased that it's been looked after for as well as it has for as long as it has. And tonight it's Michael O'Rourke time. My goodness. What do we got to say about Michael? We never met him.
No. Michael is the ghost in the machine of our musical existence, because everywhere we go, we come across people who knew him or heard him or sing a song of his.
Everywhere we go.
Everywhere we go.
It doesn't matter where you are. If you mention his name, and we do often, because the songs are amongst our very favourites to sing, and yeah, everywhere we go. So what you'll hear tonight is kind of second-hand in a lot of ways. Now, we first heard of Michael O'Rourke in the mid-90s from Greg O'Leary and Alan Musgrove out at Wombat, and it was when we first met them, but we'll talk about that in a second. Just after that, we were living around that time in the mid-90s, in the 90s I guess, in a little farm near Taranar, so the other side of Bathurst, south of the highway, an old rail town, on a farm called Ryland in a big open plan house. So, and we had got really involved with the Bathurst Folk Club. What a mighty thing it was in those days. But with this big open plan house with just Chloe and I rattling around in it, ended up putting up a lot of travelling folkies as they came through town. And we realised pretty quickly that we would benefit, lots of sessions of course, but what we would do is we'd tax people a song. We'd ask for a song. And this song was given to us by Martin Pearson around that time. I think around about the first time we met Martin too. And
so yes. When we say give, we just mean teach us, really.
Yeah,
let us record it so we can learn it.
It wasn't like bushranger stuff.
This is ours now.
Anyway, Martin came up and we had the train line, the main western line running on just the border, just down from the house. And I wonder if that's what was in our minds, but we knew Michael's name, but we didn't know this song. Now, if you're out there and you know Michael's name and there's one song you know, it's probably this one. And yes, our station here in Millthorpe, through some lovely pork barrelling, nice when you can get it, is now open again. Well, when we're not locked down, it's open again. But just down the road here, there's a little town that I love dearly, which was actually closer to my heart as a kid, because I used to come up and spend all my family holidays and school holidays with my great-grandparents on the farm just out the road. We're actually quite close to Millthorpe, but closer to Spring Hill. And Spring Hill Station was knocked down, like a lot of stations, and there's a little picture there. You can see what the station looked like, but it's not there. And if you're out there and you feel like singing, this is probably a good one to start with.
Michael, of course, wrote this when he was up on the Atherton tablelands.
Yeah, his home country.
Oh, this old town has had its day. All the people moved away. The houses standing empty in the dry and dusty day. No one cares for this old town now the money's not around. The railway line is rusty and the station's fallen down. But when the railway opened here, all the gutters flowed with beer. The people stood beside the line to watch and wave and cheer. And the speeches that were made as the bosses smiled and said, good times beginning, follow us and we'll go ahead. There's a light down the line. Let it shine, Lord, let it shine. There's a camp down the way. All the Fiddlers will be coming home today. Well, they built the streets so wide, it would be a thing all fall down, you'd never know there was anyone there at all. There's a light down the line. Let it shine, Lord, let it shine. There's a camp down the lane. All the fiddlers will be coming home today. Oh, you can hear the tall man say to the children at their play, now you'd better go home early, and you'd better stay away from the line. Can't you hear the tracks are humming? The grass has grown too tall now, and the poison train is coming. And you feel sorry for the grass, all it did was grow too fast. And with the weapons ranged against it, it was never meant to last. And the man and his offsider, well, they're both dressed in black, as the poison train rolls through the town and blisters on the track. There's a light down the line. Let it shine, Lord, let it shine. There's a camp just down the way. All the fiddlers will be coming home today. Well, it never lasted long. All the town was dead and gone. They were all just too afraid to be left there all alone. And the people moved away. There was no celebration. No one made a speech the day they closed down the station. There's a light down the line. Let it shine, Lord, let it shine. There's a camp just down the way. All the fiddlers will be coming home today. There's a light down the line. Let it shine, Lord, let it shine. There's a camp just down the way. All the fiddlers will be coming home today. There's a light down the line. Let it shine, Lord, let it shine. There's a camp just down the way. All the fiddlers will be coming home today.
Wow, well, weren't we surprised to hear a song like that? My goodness, if someone said that was the best song that they'd ever heard, I'd never argue. I think we've lost the video here, Chloe, so I'm just going to see if I can see anyone saying hello. Perhaps if you're out there, you could just tell us if you can see us all right.
I'll check that.
It's usually a problem here. The Facebook wrestles, sorry guys. Hello, hi Emma. Oh wow, we've got some terrific company. I just hope the video's coming through all right. Okay, yeah, great. It looks like it is at our end. Now, I say that, we've had a big burst of spring in Milford. It was 20 degrees 3 days ago.
It was.
It's about 6 tomorrow, and it's raining and it's windy, and that usually gives the pedal-powered electric internet a little bit of a hurdle, but it looks like it's going out. Okay, where did we first hear the name Michael O'Rourke? We were at Wombat. Do you remember that great festival at Wombat? It wasn't the first folk festival Chloe and I were ever booked for, but that was the National Folk Festival, the first one we ever wrote a letter off, and you got pen written letter back, and yeah, come. But in the meantime, we got booked to go down to Wombat, and at Wombat Festival in the hall there, we met the Harvest Moon Band, and still my favourite band of all time, really, in a lot of ways, certainly in that style. Well, who's in that style?
No one's in that style.
No, if you remember the band, you'll know what I mean. Julia Arnold was the rock on bass, she holding it all together, and then you had Jim Moyer, wonderful button accordion, and
dance leader too.
And dance caller and dancer. Yep. And two people who became real sort of influences on us very quickly, Greg O'Leary and Alan Musgrove, who are, I think they're both incredible interpreters of the tradition. And I'm in the hall there, after Alan had said, they still know how to dance a Vasa Vienna. And he didn't mean they'd learnt again. He meant they really could. And then Greg O'Leary introduced a song called The Reedy Lagoon, not a song I'd heard. And he said, I think this might be the best Australian folk song ever, or bush song ever. I can't remember what he said. And I sort of agreed. I thought it was just extraordinary. And when I said to him, gushing and raving after the gig, how wonderful I thought the song was, he said, oh yeah, well that tune was written by Michael O'Rourke, and he's someone you should look out for, And he gave me a few hints about his character. Big man, who stuttered when he talked, like Rory Storm and Ali Hewlett, but not when he sang. And great songwriter, and great interpreter of the tradition. And he told me a story. He said, yeah, he's the sort of bloke. He was walking down the street in Fitzroy one day, and someone came up behind him and tapped him on the shoulder, and Michael turned around and stared over him, and the black guy backed off a bit, the fella backed off a bit. So, oh, I'm sorry, mate, I thought you were someone else. And Michael said, I am. First story. I think it's an old Goons line, actually, but no doubt applied to Michael.
We mentioned being up in the Atherton Tablelands, and we had the pleasure of going up to Youngaborough, I think is the name of the festival up there. That was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
That was quite a few years ago. And we found the pub mentioned in this song, the Red Lynch Pub.
Took some doing, because it's not called the Red Lynch Pub, it's called the Red Beret.
That's right.
There was stuffed cane toad on the bar. Yeah. Remember that?
It was Red Lynch the place, but it's called the Red Beret.
Right, the Red Beret, yeah.
Anyway,
and we found
stuffed
it.
cane toad on the bar. Yeah. We're always glad to find something like that if you're going to go and find a pub.
It's where this song is set. It was the early morning. We were flying back out that day from Cairns, but we had to have a jug of beer. You'll hear the song and you'll hear why. Michael introduces this song on his wonderful album here by saying, he's singing in Melbourne. He says, if you're lucky up there, sometime you'll get someone down from TI and you'll hear them sing. And this song was actually on the Harvest Moon album in some old shed. So the first Michael O'Rourke song that we heard.
Sung by Greg O'Leary.
Yeah, and written by Michael. So another chorus if you're out there and singing along. TI Woman.
Sitting in the bar in the Red Lynch pub, we were drinking a jug of beer, thinking about those southern cities and feeling real glad to be here. When a big black woman sat down with us, said, boys, I'll sing a song, and maybe you'll play that old guitar, and maybe you'll sing along. She's a TI woman, she moves like a cloud, she sings those island songs. And when she sings them, a tear comes to her eye. She's been away too long, she's been away from home too long. She came down to Cairns to get a job, back home work's hard to find. But living so far away down south weighs heavy on her mind. But you've just gotta take what's handed out when your country is not your own. So she lifted up her voice and sang, TI, my beautiful home. She's a TI woman, she moves like a cloud, she sings those island songs. And when she sings them, a tear comes to her eye. She's been away too long, she's been away from home too long. living down in Melbourne town, I get those tropic dreams. I'm feeling up to my neck in politics, intrigues, and unreal schemes. But maybe one day soon I'll get back home. We'll see what fortune brings. But when the wind blows from the right direction, I can hear that woman sing. Oh, she's a GI woman, she moves like a cloud, she sings those island songs. And when she sings them, a tear comes to her eye. She's been away too long, she's been away from home too long. She's been away too long, she's been away from home too long.
I could hear just a bit of O'Leary in that singing voice then,
No
Chloe.
doubt.
Hi everybody. Oh gosh, I wish I had more time to chat, but we'll keep moving. So we'd heard 2 songs of Michael O'Rourke's and a few stories, as the stories tended to go around Michael. And we were already thinking on the evidence of those 2 songs that you might not find a better songwriter. You go a long way to find someone who could write songs. And then we were getting used to his work in the tradition as well. We heard Greg's version of Reedy Lagoon. It was the first place I ever heard Hey Rain. But where? Well, when...
Not Mike singing it.
Yeah, Mike's singing it, sorry, not Greg. Battler's Ballad, Mike wrote a great tune for Battler's Ballad, which we learned very quickly. Where? Well, very soon after Martin came to stay at the old place at Ryland on the farm, in the big open plan house that we're out there. Gosh, we rattled around in there, didn't we, when it was just the 2 of us.
That was great. You could have lots of people to stay. You could stack them up against the walls.
But so Greg O'Leary gave us Twinkie Doodle Dum, Twinkie Doodle Dum.
That's right.
That was Greg's contribution when we taxed him a song. Jim played a tune for us. Julie just kept the other 3 on board, so it was all right. The Harvest Moon Band came to stay at Ryland. That's not a time we will forget in a hurry. Well, the bits I can remember were like the fact that all the locals were protesting about a greyhound track that was going to... breeding place that was going to come and be next door. So everyone there was these signs with the dog with the big cross through it all through the country roads there. And Alan and Greg said, what's with the dogs? And we explained, okay. Now they had a new PA at this time, and Greg O'Leary was out on the veranda overlooking the paddocks of sheep, and just over the hill you could see where the house was going to be, where the greyhounds were going to be. And Greg's testing his big PA on the veranda, turning it up and up and up and up, and he starts barking. And I can still see Alan Musgrove running out of his bedroom in his pink pyjamas to join in the fun, barking, and the sheep are tearing over the hill.
Over the next hill.
Yeah.
Just to,
Alan
stir
gave
the
us,
neighbours.
Yeah. Alan, when we taxed Alan, he gave us North to Alaska, which was a song I'd loved since I was a kid, and a very Mike O'Rourke kind of song. But then they handed over 3 CDs, 3 CDs of Michael O'Rourke. No names for any songs, no details, no idea where they'd come from that I can remember getting off them. And we were lost. We absorbed those 3 CDs very quickly. Within a few months we were playing a lot of the songs that you're hearing tonight, including this one.
We've put a tune with this one. A friend of ours, a fellow we met, Vaughan Kyle, a fiddler from up in the Kempsey area. We went on a collecting trip with Rob Willis, and we're lucky enough to meet Vaughan and hear him play.
Well, I got to play
and Jason
tunes
got to play with him on the guitar.
The recording was so good.
And we learnt a few tunes from him.
He's a wonderful fella, really, really lovely.
When
bloke.
we sang this song at one of our gigs,
at the National, on the Buttering stage at the National,
and he really liked it. So we've put one of his tunes with the song.
Yeah, Vaughan passed away a long time ago now, but he was a wonderful old man and a really lovely fiddler. He wrote tunes as well as playing traditional tunes. This is Old Fiddler Joe, which we're putting with a song of Michael O'Rourke's. It's all about Michael O'Rourke's original songs really tonight, and this one's a song called Call Up Me Horses. me belly is hard as a stone, hard as a bullet, boys, round as a rock. Call up me horses, I've run out of luck. See that old moon standing over there above the trees, that line of old riders are waiting for me. With a stone for me pillow, the earth for me bed, I'll settle down for the best rest I've ever had. You can call up me horses, for I cannot come. The heart of me belly is hard as a stone, hard as a bullet, boys, round as the rock. Call up me horses, I've run out of luck. You can sing me a lullaby, some old-fashioned air. You can cry some tears if you've water to spare. I was always a flash lad, I'll leave no one behind. Split up me gear amongst you and put me out of mind. Oh, call up me horses, for I cannot come. The heart of me belly is hard as a stone, hard as a bullet, boys, round as a rock. Call up me horses, I've run out of luck. Some men live honest, I was always on the cross. I never bought a saddle nor paid for a horse. So whether it's above, boys, or whether it's below, I'm headed for the place where all duffers go. So call up me horses, for I cannot come. The heart of me belly is hard as a stone, hard as a bullet, boys, round as a rock. Call up me horses, I've run out of luck. You can hang up me saddle wherever you please. You can drink yourself silly, I'm mourning for me. The old hawk's circling away up in the air. I don't know where I'm going, and I don't seem to care. Oh, call up me horses, for I cannot come. The heart of me belly is hard as a stone, hard as a bullet, boys, round as a rock. Call up me horses, I've run out of luck. Oh, call up me horses, for I cannot come. The heart of me belly is hard as a stone, hard as a bullet, boys, round as a rock. Call up me horses, I've run out of luck. Wonderful song as well, and the combination with old Fiddler Joe from Vaughan Kyle seemed to speak to what we've found with Michael's songs, is he didn't write a lot of songs, and I know we don't know all of the songs he wrote. There's always someone who'll come up and say, you know, Michael O'Rourke, he wrote a song about, and yeah, I'm sure he did. And
that's not all they say. They come up and say he played fiddle.
Yeah.
And they'll come up and say, he wrote stories. Yeah. And we
it's all true, of course.
Sometimes it's another Michael O'Rourke, but I think a lot of the time it actually is.
Normally you can tell pretty quickly if it's the O'Rourke we're thinking of. And yes, here's a couple of more songs where Michael is using the tradition. One of my very favourites of Michael's. They're all the best ones. Every one we play is the best Michael O'Rourke song. This is a song called Frank Gardiner's Gang.
It captures just a moment. He's put himself in that moment when Frank was released from jail. So 10 years after all the drama, 10 years after Eugara Rocks and being caught, well, more than that, after Eugara Rocks,
Yeah, he
Well, like
first
12. How long was he up at Athos?
Well, he was up at Athos Creek near Rockhampton for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a disgrace in the family. James Pye, who was the policeman who led the charge up there when they found Frank was hiding out there, is a direct ancestor of mine. I like to think of him as the black sheep of the family.
Yeah. Anyway, so Frank survived. He was one of the only bushrangers to survive and to actually live into old age. And
the deal was he was sentenced to 32 years.
He was, and they
in
let him off.
Starvinghurst Jail. And then after 10 years had passed and all his mates were dead, Frank taught them all. He taught all of the Goldfields and the Weddin Mountains bushrangers how to do their job. He was a businessman in a lot of ways. He wanted to get his money and go away. The others developed motives that are a little more political in a lot of ways. Ben Hall, Johnny Gilbert, poor Johnny Dunn. But anyway, after 10 years, Frank was given there was a general amnesty and Frank was let out of jail, but
he was exiled. He had to leave the country, so he could never return to Australia again. So here's the moment. Here he is, free, unexpectedly free and alive and starting a new life. But, with all the rest just gone. All the rest of his mates and his country and everything that he was connected to is gone. So it's quite a moment. And Michael's had a crack at it. Frank Gardiner's gang, that's what people used to call us. They're all dead now. There's no one left but me. They've set me free. At least that's what they've told me. Put me on a ship to take me over the sea. Poor Ben's gone, and all me mates gone with him. And what's the use of roots without the rest of the tree? We used to make the troopers swear and sweat in their uniforms so fine. We could have taken over the country if we'd had a bit more time. Now I can't set foot in my own country again, but they can't stop the darky from making his own way. Maybe things will be better in America, where the Queen's police won't trouble me again. Maybe I should stick to honest work, spend my whole life half asleep. It's a hard thing that's happened, it's enough to make you weep. I can't think of reasons now, I'll rest a while and mend. The colonial aristocracy got their way in the end. Frank Gardiner's gang will ride the roads no more now. We're broken now. There's nothing to be done. I said, do your worst. I thought that they'd hang me, but why should they kill me when anyhow they'd won? Sometimes I think that for me to go on living is like being too long awake after the setting of the sun. Maybe none of us were good men, whatever that means to you. There's been worse things done by the government than we could ever do. You don't mind the evening coming some way. Maybe I'll get on alright in America. It's a new lease of life for me, that's plain. Maybe I could be a squatter and own 1,000 head, but I never thought I'd ever die a peaceful death in bed. It's better than being shot down like a dog. That's what they did to Ben. But if things don't work out, then maybe I'll go on the road again.
So you can hear how rich Michael's words get. What an extraordinary writer, just text alone. And using the tradition right there, but gosh, musically, it's really, really interesting material. Wild, yeah, wild. The other thing you got used to very
Frank
quickly.
Russell.
Sorry? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We not only have we now met quite a few people who did know Michael and in various guises and phases of their life, but we also know a few people who are hopefully out there tonight or catching up later on YouTube. If you're out there and you're not hearing me,
Nice try.
yeah, nice try. If the internet's letting you down or us, then it'll end up on YouTube fairly quickly, within a day or so of the gig. The thing you got used to listening to Michael was he could be prickly, he could be seemingly quite depressive, ornery, but also really funny. Now, in the Australian tradition, and indeed in the English tradition, and probably all over the world, certainly America, there is the great tradition in Australia. We might think of the banks of the Condamine, where the fella's heading off to go shearing, and his kind of wife-to-be, I'm not sure, is saying, I'm going to come with you. And he says, no, you can't handle it, mate. And she said, oh, I'll dress up. You know. And that song, beautiful as it is, comes from a thing called the Banks of the Nile, where the fella's not going shearing, he's heading off to war. This is what Michael made of this one, this tradition.
Yeah, no, we won't preempt it too much.
No.
We've added just a little tuney riff just to hold it all together, and yes, it's a bit of a borrow from Over the Waterfall. We're just calling it Over the Rapids because it's kind of smaller.
Christina says, hands up if you're not, heads up, hands up if you're not here.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. It was meant to be funny, but, so Chloe come up with this little melody to go with this one. It's fun. It's a great fun song to play. It's not one we've played before, so we've had fun kind of getting inside it. A poor bricklayer love is not what's in my mind. I think I'll go out on the road for adventure I would find. A bush ranger is respected and he's known to every man. Oh, make me pile in a year, love, and come home to you again.
But bushranging is dangerous, dear, or so I have been told. The violent men in the shanties will fight you for your gold. The police, they will molest you, they'll hunt you far and wide, and you'll never be able to sleep at night without me by your side.
Well, I've no desire to risk my love, but I've no no desire to risk my life for fortune or for fame. So if what you say is true, love, I'll try another game. For if there's gold in the banks, me love, there's much more in the ground. So I'm off to be a fossicker, to Bendigo unbound.
But Johnny, there's been no gold there for 40 years or more, and Lambing Flat and Ballarat are played out as well, I'm sure. So forget this wild adventuring and stay at home with me, and don't venture into foreign climes in some far country. So far into the north, my love, it's tropical and wild. The natives there are troublesome, they spear both horse and child. The lofty snow-capped mountains are more than a man can climb. So if you must lay your life down, love, lay it down alongside mine.
Well, since you put it like that, my dear, I'm sure I can't refuse. If I went into the wilderness, my precious life I'd lose. So take my hand, dear Nancy, go away with me. We'll go take out a license, love, and married we shall be. And now they live in sweet content in a house in Melbourne town. They work at putting houses up and pulling houses down. He backs the horses on the side and they live a quiet life. And he spends every night at home with his sweet loving wife. Yeah, it's funny too. Just funny. I mean, if you know that tradition, it's even funnier, I guess. But we really enjoy having fun with that. I think we'll stick with that one in the repertoire around the place.
Turn that one around nice.
This is one. When I first realised that we had finally got around to singing Michael O'Rourke songs, this is one I think we both were keen to play it. It's been kind of close to a few CDs. We've recorded, I don't know, several of Mike's songs over the years on our albums, his original songs, and his settings of traditional work. But this one's just kind of missed out, but it's one we've always loved. Michael's CD we have here for sale, there's a few copies left. Was recorded by Peter in Melbourne in 75, and he actually sings quite a lot of other people's songs, which are great too. Really good. It's a wonderful album. Well,
you can hear him in action, so you can hear him interacting with the crowd, and his introductions, which are just pearlers.
Yeah. His choice of songs gives away something you can hear in his original work as well, and that is an influence from Ireland. He sings my favourite Irish traditional song or version, the Shannon's Boiling Flood. Is just extraordinary. Not on this album. No, sorry, misleading. But you can also hear the American influence, things like Dave Van Ronk and I guess I would imagine, in fact I think I know from Greg O'Leary that Woody Guthrie you can hear that in there as well. And so we've got Woody's quote up here. Well, it's given to Woody. We'll give it to Woody as well.
And our reasons will become more apparent.
Yeah. The quote, if you'll probably all know it out there, it's a folk singer's job to, how does he put it? Comfort disturbed people and disturb comfortable people. And Michael certainly took that job very seriously at both ends. And often the person that needed a little comfort was Michael himself. Worth remembering, his home country is on the Atherton Tablelands and right up north, so it sort of gives this song a nice context. tropical island in the sky. Oh, the scent of a mango is sheer bliss. It's as welcome at night as a young maiden's kiss. It seemed I could smell them as a whole month went by on my tropical island in the sky. Tropical island in the sky. Days go by, days go by. No need to fret, there's no need to cry on my tropical island in the sky. Oh, the flying foxes in the evening they fly. There are so many, they blacken the sky. They rustle away with their wings on high on my tropical island in the sky. Of a windmill you can see for miles. The earth looks as pleasant as a woman who smiles. It seemed I could stay there as a whole day went by on my tropical island in the sky. Tropical island in the sky. Days go by, days go by. No need to fret, there's no need to cry on my tropical island in the sky. Comforting the disturbed, indeed. 2 times in our life we've had the opportunity presented to us, I think, to sing concerts for Mike before. This is the 3rd time we've done that. We've sung his songs all around the world, not just Australia. They stick in the repertoire and they work wherever you go. Most of our work, when we gigged, was outside of what you might call the folk scene, where there may have been some memory of Michael. We thought, but like we said before, it doesn't matter where you went, there'd be someone who would come up and say, "Michael, you're kidding, that's that old-time fiddler." yes, that's him. One of the times we got to do that was with Bob and Mark Fagan. Yeah. Oh, gosh, a dim, dark memory, but from the middle, late-ish 90s, a Jamboree festival in the bowling club. I remember because I stuffed up a chord into the old woman, made me cranky. Oh. But there was, there's a bit more about that show later on. But this song, we did it once at, do you remember those great Turning Wave festivals that were at Gundagai and then Yass? Well, in the very first one, I think, or second at most, we were asked to do a tribute for Michael O'Rourke, and Alan Musgrove was there. He was in great form too, I remember. Dengate was there. John Dengate, who's I mentioned before, painting as I'm singing to tonight as well as you all. The painting of John used to say, "Michael's songs are great, but dark, very dark." Alan said, when he found out we were singing a concert for Mike O'Rourke, I mean, if anyone should have been doing it, it's probably Alan, but Alan said, "Well, I hope you're doing Gravestones on the Hill." And we kind of shriveled and said, "No, no, we're not. Do you want to do it?" I think, and he said, "Yes, all right." And he did. I remember him coming up with his guitar, the black guitar. Thalia was there as well. And he sang this song, Gravestones on the Hill. It's one of Michael's, well, that's by way of saying it's one of probably his most important songs. Yeah. Would that be a...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weighty piece. Again, set up there on the Atherton tablelands. And
it puts you in a time and place very firmly.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Oh, Margaret Fagan, you're out there. You remember it well. Oh, please send me a memory because it's really a bit fuzzy, but I do remember stuffing up the chord, even if you don't. Anyway, I tricked myself for trying to throw one in at the last moment, and I missed by a fret, jazz chord. Anyway, this is the great Gravestones on the hill. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Cheers, everybody. Hope you're all going all right out there.
Hang in there.
Speaking of comforting the disturbed people, haven't we all needed a bit of that at times over the last... testing times. It was just on 100 years ago when the first of the farmers came. It's hard to understand them now, they never cared for fame. They came into a wilderness to clear the land to till, and their sons set up their monuments in the gravestones on the hill. Then from the city 1,000 miles away, the hard men took their course, armed with an act of parliament, protected by the laws. They cleared out all the farmers and left a dam to fill, and the country's only witnesses were the gravestones on the hill. Now the men they sent were strangers, these men were not our friends. They'd never swum in the swimming hole, nor fished around the bends. They flooded in the good country to water barren fields, and the signs of an empty victory were the gravestones on the hill. Now all the politicians want is to aggrandise their name. They build a memorial to their pride and put the land to shame. But their monument's a deadly thing, lies heavy on the ground, for a lake's just like a desert when it holds the country down. Their mouths are full of lies, their souls as careless as their hands, and all they ever cared about were profits and advance. And now the pine trees rise above the forests that they kill, and they build a goddamn Boy Scout camp round the gravestones on the hill. Now my daddy was a communist, he fought in the light horse, rode the sands of Palestine, got wounded in the war. He didn't brag about it when he was safely home, said I don't like to remember, I'm just too glad those times are gone. My daddy was a communist and a champion pistol shot, plus some friends to those vigilante men, the Knights of the Southern Cross. Me and my brothers sometimes think we might have been a spy. There was something strange, his home on the range made him want to sit down and cry. Now Russia shone like a red star when all around was dim. My daddy met Joe Stalin and he shook hands with him. He gave his hopes of that right day when governments would fall, came home to agitate and wait for the revolution's call. But the revolution never came and his heart grew slowly cold, and Russia's only memories for a man who's getting old. I never knew him well enough, now he's dead and I never will, but sometimes his thoughts shine down on me like a beacon on the hill. He said, all those people are my friends who care for freedom's cause, who care to let the rivers run, who don't care for the laws. Well, those laws are made to keep us down, to cover us with shame. Like all those people here, my friends, who care for freedom's name. He said, all those people are my friends who care for freedom's cause, who care to let the rivers run, who don't care for the laws. Those laws were made to keep us down, to cover us with shame. I call those people here my friends who care for freedom's name. Yes, we never ever should have gone into a Michael O'Rourke concert without knowing that song, and Alan fixed us that day, sorted us out.
Got to do it.
Oh, hi, Lee and Jeff. My goodness, how's things down there? You okay? I must admit, I'm pretty glad for the old fast book at the moment. Just that daily little check, even if it just floats past. It's just nice to know you're out there, guys. Just while we tune up for this one, I will mention again that we didn't know Michael. I know, we know people who did, and I'm always fascinated to hear the stories that people tell. He really stood out. You didn't forget him. Once you knew him, it seems you didn't forget him. Some people describe him as quiet. I think he was cranky, you know, and Greg O'Leary was a good friend of his and kind of said that he was, you know, what was his great phrase? A wonderful pain in the arse or something you called him.
But also very lovable,
it sounds like people, even though his life up and down the eastern seaboard, that's what we know about, from Hobart and Melbourne especially, and then Cairns, Atherton, Brisbane folkies, I think, know him better than most.
People looked after him.
Yeah,
I think he stayed with people a lot. People shouted him things like strings and, you know, that sort of thing. Gave him somewhere to stay often. So he must have been someone whose company people enjoyed, I think.
I think part of
kind of ornery.
It was funny too, you know, and I think that helps. But you hear a song like this next one, and you fall in love with him. It's really straightforward, don't you think? It was one of the first ones we learnt. It was a favourite of Chloe's mum and dad's, especially her dad's, and we didn't always agree on what it was about, you know. Apart, you know, I said John Dengate said his songs were very dark, but he also used to say, and we've often said, he can handle 5 and 6 things in a song. He'll take a left turn when he wants to. There's layer upon layer if you want to go looking. Once you're willing to sort of use the text as literally true and metaphorical, there's a lot of ways you can interpret Michael. The songs are rich, very rich, and this is one of the first ones we learnt.
Sweet necessity, I'll take you to some solitary place where I can hold you by your shoulders small and look you in the face. With you beside me, I can leave behind the crowds and song and booze and all the gambling talk, no matter what you lose. We are the first ones in a quiet land. We are the pioneers. We're here to carve out all the figures that lie hidden behind our fears. We will not measure up what must be done by what we've won or lost. We will just play our cards and never count the cost. Sweet necessity, when you come in and lay down beside me, all my foolish worries fade away, and suddenly I feel free. I know your eyes dark and straight, and I know that your heart is true, that you'll stay beside me all of the seasons through. We will see traces of other lives beneath the earth and stone, we'll stand among the ruins, remembering things we've never known. We will see faces from other times go by in the crowded street, and we'll go our way not knowing who we'll meet. Sweet necessity, when you come in and lay down beside me, all my foolish worries fade away, and suddenly I feel free. I know your eye is dark and straight, and I know that your heart is true, and that you'll stay beside me all of the seasons through.
We recorded that one on a live album in about 2000, 99, 2000, at Wongawilli Hall. It was an album that Chloe's dad liked very much, and there were 3 O'Rourke songs on there. Sing Us a Song, Boys, which we'll do in a minute, Poison Train, and Sweet Necessity was the other one.
And that one my dad was convinced was a love song, which tells you good things about his life. But I always read it more as a personification of necessity, I've got to say. So I don't know which way you heard that
You
one.
can hold it all. I don't know why we need to choose, do we?
No, we
Your
don't
dad
have
wanted
to choose.
to choose.
I just like that discussion. It's a
Yeah,
good
me
discussion.
too. It was always fun. This next song is bringing out Michael's humour a little bit again. It's a song, we're sort of remembering it. It's on an album of ours that... quick story. The album this is on is in 2010. It was called A Voice That Was Still. And we got the shock of our lives. It won the National Film and Sound Archive National Folk Festival Album of the Year. My goodness, what a big deal, hey? There was some money and a nice big wooden huge thing. I don't know what you call it, with the CD mounted and everything. And got people saying lovely things about the album. But the point was... we kind of knew that we were going to get to play the closing concert at the Budawang, and that's a big deal. I've only done it a few times here and there at the National. It's a big room. If you're not familiar with the National Folk Festival, it's the National Tally Room as it was. So I don't know, a full Budawang's 4,000, is it? It's big anyway, and for us. And
Scary enough.
it's 2 stages. You'll see this a lot. There's a little stage and a big stage. And I'm going to embarrass myself here. I can't remember the name of the band, but it was one of the big French-Canadian bands. They come out and play such beautiful music. There's been a string of them. I won't guess at the name because I'll get it wrong, but they were very good. One of the best overseas acts we'd seen at that point. Now, we were on the side stage doing our little set of songs. And Chloe and I thought, the big Budawang full of people will have to be big. And then we thought, no, it's not really a big album. And even then, let's see if we can't kind of make the room small. It's a different way of approaching a big stage. And the set was enjoyable. I guess we got a few things right and a few things wrong. But we started playing this song. And next to us on the big stage, not coming through the PA, but coming through the foldback so we could hear them.
Yeah, they were sound checking.
They're sound checking. The French-Canadian band, ready to go. Ready, hit, set,
Checking all their leads
go.
worked. Okay.
And the big play out for the party. And they picked up the tune we were playing, I think they were thinking that they would be less intrusive if they picked up this tune.
Yeah, something that went with...
So they started playing this tune, and behind us, and we were trying to shrink the Budawang at this point, right? We're trying to make it small. And what happened was, Chloe's just realised Pro Tools are show. What happened was, the front of house guys in the Budawang heard what they were playing and actually pushed the faders up. So instead of us sort of shrinking the Budawang, we ended up in this kind of very informal jam with these guys picking this tune. I still think of this song in Alan Musgrove's voice. So So even though we ended up learning it from Mike's CDs, the tapes we had, I think they were the first ever burnt CDs we'd seen in our life. Greg O'Leary and Alan Musgrave gave us these 3 albums. Goodness, I still don't know who recorded them or when. One day someone will come up and tell me. Maybe someone out there now. But this song really, really got me. Took me back to my childhood in a strange and inverted kind of way, but so resonant. This tune is a cross. Coming down, and Pro Tools has spit the dummy again. No. Do you want to have talk about this next song, and I'll see if I can fix that.
All right. This is the best one. You know how we keep saying this is the best Michael O'Rourke song, but this one, be a hard one to beat. Michael does sing songs about hard subjects, loneliness, things not going right. Important things, big things, and this is one of those. And it's got very strange harmonization, very unusual chords.
Behind a very unusual melody.
Yeah. And he steps sideways very comfortably with his melodies. When you start trying to learn a Michael tune, sometimes you find yourself sort of over the edge of a cliff, you know, that old cartoon where your legs are going very fast and there's nothing under there. Because he's stuck to his chords and you just didn't hear it coming.
But it's a thrill. It's a thrill to hear someone who could push the music that far. That's what I remember. Yeah. You turn on the radio these days and you're lucky if you get 4 chords in a song. Mind you, what did Woody Guthrie say? 2 chords, 3 if you're trying to impress a girl. Yes.
Yeah. This girl's impressed.
Another song where we could mention that our Woody Guthrie quote for tonight. It's a folk singer's job to disturb comfortable people and comfort the disturbed. Like I said before, Michael took both of those jobs really seriously. You can tell straight away. He was very direct on stage. Very, very... Look, all I can say is if you'd like to hear Michael on stage, there's a few of his own songs. It's an hour and 15 minutes. It's a long album. It's wonderful. It's my favourite folk album of the last couple of years, and that's kind of saying something considering it was recorded live in 1975. It's just one of a kind. This is the best one.
It is, without doubt. Oh, hang on.
Hi, Kathy. So good to see some faces out there. You wouldn't believe how good it is to be able to just picture some faces as well as the good, beautiful painting of John Dengo behind you there, kind of keeping us honest.
Does it make your head hurt when you try to remember? Did you wear down your fingernails playing the game? Oh, the grass keeps on growing, the flowers still turn out when it comes round to spring. Oh, and that old rooster's crowing, I've lost the best feather in my wing. You like? Do you feel alright? Is there something inside you that makes your face pale? Oh, wherever you're going, there's nothing to fear. It don't mean anything. Oh, and that old rooster's crowing. I've lost the best feather in my wing. Just to try the night air, turned around to my bed, and my bed it was bare. Then I turned on the light just to get a good sight. When I turned round again, there was nobody there. Oh, the day it is dawning, I've nowhere to go, I can't do anything. Crowing, I lost the best feather in my wing. on a cold winter's night, to have a good roaring fire, to see in reflections our different directions, string the bright images out on wire. Oh, there's no way of knowing what manner of guest or what thoughts they will bring, but you open the door anyway the wind's blowing and smile and ask them to come in.
So that song, which again, when we were given these CDs of without any real sort of information about what was on them, maybe a bit of text on the CD. One album was called Napoleon, and it's got some beautiful musicians playing with Michael. The other two are just Mike, and one was called Tropical Island in the Sky, and one was just written up as Michael O'Rourke. So, and there's a lot of double-ups, and the songs are never sung the same way. He's obviously always working at his melodies, but especially his text. So
Yes, different versions have different lines.
they sure do, yeah. And so sometimes we're singing texts that we've preferred in recent times, and sometimes we're singing texts that that we've just got in the habit of singing because it was the version we heard first. And a lot of the songs on there were about disturbing comfortable people. There's some hard-hitting material there, so I guess you might call this one a satire warning.
Yes.
Somehow these days with the internet you feel like you should say satire coming. I know you guys probably don't need it, but you never know who's looking in. This is a song that we first heard on that CD called Michael O'Rourke, and oh gosh, it made me laugh and cry all at the same time, and we've sung it ever since. You've got to pick your places. I remember it's very interesting singing a song like Jesus Isn't Welcome in My House Anymore. Don't worry folks, Jesus comes out of this song looking okay. But I remember singing this at that Jamboree Bowling Club concert with the... Is this illustrative in some ways, I think, of something we've observed over the years? Down the front row, there were some older people. Now, they looked very old to me. They were probably 70 or 72 or 80. And as they listened to this song, the delight was radiating from them. Now, behind them were some, what I would have thought of as kind of middle-aged people. It's like my age now. This was 25 years ago. Yes. And a couple of them were offended. Now, John Dengate used to say, John was famous for singing songs that would send a few people out of the room. And if you ever mentioned that to John, you lost a couple in the crowd there, John, he would say, well, then my time here has not been wasted.
That's right.
And a couple of the younger people were the ones that you could feel the kind of misunderstanding and the offence in a prickly song. It is a prickly song.
Yes, and where are the Australian chorus songs? Well, here's one.
Yeah, here's one. Yeah. Now, all those lovely, lovely people in the front row, they're all dead. They're all gone. And those people at the back are now in the front row. And I don't think it's changed very much. I think those older people are now the ones who are kind of more conservative. It's just, I'm generalising terribly.
You are.
Yeah. And it's not always true, believe me. This is a song, Michael O'Rourke's song, Jesus Isn't Welcome in My House Anymore. Dengate used to say, never explain, never apologise. I think I just did both.
It
was a cold and wintry night, I was walking down the street when a little girl came walking by with blue and frozen feet. And as she walked on by me, I heard the young girl say, "Oh Jesus, she took my daddy away. Take the light out of the window, hang a sign above the door. Jesus isn't welcome in my house anymore." My daddy was a millionaire, he worked hard all his life, worked his fingers to the bone to keep us from all strife. But the market crashed, my daddy lost his fortune in a day, and Jesus, you took my daddy away. Take the light out of the window, hang a sign above the door. Jesus isn't welcome in my house anymore. Take the light out of the window, hang a sign above the door. Jesus isn't welcome in my house anymore. Well, nobody would help us then because we were too poor. Mummy turned to prostitution to keep the wolves from the door. And every night she'd pray to you, she begged you on her knees. And Jesus, you let her catch social disease. Take the light out of the window, hang a sign above the door. Jesus isn't welcome in my house anymore. Take the light out of the window, hang a sign above the door. Jesus isn't welcome in my house anymore. Up to the teeth with you, you just don't seem to care. So I'm out here looking for you now, I'm searching everywhere. Unlocked my daddy's trunk, took out his old 22. And Jesus, I'm a-gunning after you. Take the light out of the window, hang a sign above the door. Jesus isn't welcome in my house anymore. Take the light out of the window, hang a sign above the door. Jesus isn't welcome in my house anymore.
There you go.
When he took aim, he didn't miss. And we come to our last song, my friends. Frank Russell said, I sang Jesus Isn't Welcome for Pat Drummond one evening. He liked it. Pat Wood. I know Pat's feeling on Jesus. We're not particularly religious in this house, but I wouldn't say we're particularly irreligious either. And obviously that's not the target in that song anyway. It's something that we all might ponder as we hillsong our way through the federal parliament. And we come to our last song, and we're back to, in some respects, comforting the disturbed, I think. It's maybe Mike's best song. They're all the best ones, aren't they, Mike?
Absolutely. No, this is the best one.
Yeah.
If you believe Barry Parks, it's the best one.
Barry likes this one. Yeah, I remember this is lots of Michael's songs are like endless finale songs, you know. They're all the ones you want to put at the end of the set.
Yeah, you try and build a set and it's like, you know, putting them all at the back and you can't do it.
It's card trick somehow.
Yeah.
But this is the finale of all finales, and it's a song that I now know is called No Man Is a Stranger, but again, we didn't have the benefit of the any of that information when we first got the CD, so we've been calling it Sing Us a Song Boys forever. I remember playing this song, just how quickly Mike O'Rourke songs work. We played this song, we were at Halkær Festival in Denmark, The last festival we ever spent with Felpayu, the wonderful folks at with Felpayu, they were out there, they were in the audience, kind of, you know, we knew a few songs in common by that stage and singing along a little bit. And the boss of the festival said, can we use that song as the finale song for our festivals kind of from now on? That was an immediate first hearing reaction to the song. Don't know if they did, I've got no idea.
No.
But you could do worse.
It was a nice thought.
Yeah. Thanks for coming along to hear Michael's songs tonight. Yeah, he really is. He hated being called a genius, but there's none better. And if he can't be a genius, then I don't know who can.
There's so much. We barely scratched the surface. Michael O'Rourke tonight barely scratched the surface. There's a lot out there. If you look in the National Library. And this CD, so if you're into these songs, there's
CD.
Plenty of places to look.
We've recorded some of the songs
that's true.
as well on our albums. I guess I'll mention just quickly that this is a free concert, but we do donations are really welcome through the website if you feel like chipping in. But
and thank you to those who've done so already.
Yeah,
very much.
Yeah, and if you're catching up on YouTube, send us a note. We'll come and see if you've had fun or not. You know, thanks for coming and. I just hope you're okay out there. I'm sitting in a storm at the moment, aren't we?
It's not too bad. Could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
Lots of rain this year, looking green and lush and amazing. The country just looks like it hasn't looked for an awful long time. Let's say 18 months now, isn't it? Since the horrible dust and smoke and fires of late 19. It's really come back well. Thanks everybody. Come all decent people who suffer no shame, you can let the blame lie where it will. For they have taken all from me except for my name, and they have turned that from good into ill. Sing us a song, boys, and we'll be away. It's a long dry road we're travelling today. Let the bottle go round, take it easy and free. No man is a stranger when he's drinking with me. If you ask where I'm going, my errand's me own. It's for me to say where to and when. And drinking might stop me from thinking too long where I live through my memories again. Sing us a song, boys, and we'll be away. It's a long dry road we're travelling today. Let the bottle go round, take it easy and free. No man is a stranger when he's drinking with me. God knows what kind of a country we've made. There were men raised it up on their backs, and those fellows who handle the shears and the spade are still out on the wallaby track. So sing us a song, boys, and we'll be away. It's a long dry road we're travelling today. Let the bottle go round, take it easy and free. No man is a stranger when he's drinking with me. Where is the flag of the Diggers' Brigade? Where are the riders out in the night? And where is the wild dog who's never afraid and will never let go when he bites? Oh, sing us a song, boys, and we'll be away. It's a long, dry road we're travelling today. Let the bottle go round, take it easy and free. No man is a stranger when he's drinking with me. Oh, sing us a song, boys, and we'll be away. It's a long, dry road we're travelling today. Let the bottle go round, take it easy and free. No man is a stranger when he's drinking with me. Michael O'Rourke, songwriter. One day we might do Michael O'Rourke, traditional player too, but in the meantime, thanks everybody for Saturday streaming. 2 weeks' time, fortnightly at the moment with the second season. And I think we're just some of the most fun nights we had last year actually were variety nights. The kids will have a go and we'll sing a couple of, I think they generally run a bit lighter, but you expect the unexpected.
Definitely.
Yeah, because we don't know what's coming. But by next fortnight, Saturday the whatever.
Yep, we'll have a bit of a variety
28th.
night going.
Yeah. Hope you've enjoyed tonight. Michael's one of a kind, and I cannot recommend the album highly enough.
Yeah, spend some time in his company.
Yeah. Okay. Good night, folks.